Tensura X Gate. Thus the JSDF fought their X How Realist Hero Rebuild the Kingdom by NoruSensei. Chapter 9. Negotiations, Plans and Punishment Atami Yuji POV. Atami Yuji, by the recommendation of the Queen of Tempest and Goddess Rimuru Tempest Sama. You shall be promoted into captain and you were given a special command to the Maritime Self-Defense Force. Lieutenant General Hamaza said to me as I salute. Huh? I said in surprise. Japan is now under the care of Jura Tempest Federation Queendom. We just signed the papers on the day when she was in Japan. He said it's serious as usual. I'm in great shock on this. First I got promoted out of nowhere, then I'm given a special command with the Maritime Self-Defense Force. How did this even happen? I thought myself in dismay and disbelief. Now, your mission as captain is to have a peace negotiations with the Empire. You may use the given helicopter squad. 3 Type 74 MBTs as you wish. Another thing, you will be merged with Tempest's black numbers under the command of Moss. He will be your second in command. They will be here tomorrow, he said as he finished giving me the order. Ha! I said as I put down my hands, straightened my body and left the room. Now how did I get here? Well, I was just enjoying my day reading my books when all of a sudden Yanagita came to me and said that I was being called by Lieutenant General Hamaza. And that's how it leads us earlier. Later on I was at my desk when I received my promotion, Rand in insignia of captain. I guess I'll get ready for tomorrow, huh? I said out loud as I sighed. Soma Kazuya Pav. I'm currently walking towards a cell. In this cell there is Georg Carmen himself. I opened the door as I entered into Carmine's special cell with some guards are guarding him. I then signaled them to leave us as I sit on a chair that had been prepared for me. This man is Georg Carmen. He has a very intimidating presence, I thought to myself as I sit on the chair. I have a lot of things I want to say and ask you, I said to him in a serious tone as I look at him dead at the eyes. Of course, go ahead, he replied while looking at me. I heard that when Lisha came to visit you. I paused for a second as I saw Lisha's face when she was sad. You sent her back, saying that it's ridiculous for someone who would be the queen to come meet a prisoner herself. Although she put up a strong front, I'm sure that bothered her, I said to him in a very serious tone. Since that day when she cut off her hair, she has shown her resolve. It would be really regretful if she wavered just because she met with me, he said with a straight face. So he did that for Lisha's sake, huh? Good grief, this hard-headed old man, I thought to myself as he finished talking. That aside, I also have some questions, he said in a serious tone as he looks to me. What are they? I asked as I looked at him seriously. What will you do to those soldiers who served under us during the rebellion? And also, what will happen to those corrupt nobles who were involved in the rebellion? He asked me as he looks deep into my eyes. I can also see that he is worried for his men. As for the soldiers, they'll be pardoned due to their contributions during the war against Amidonia, I said to him. The House of Vargas did betray the kingdom, but, due to the help that they gave to the previous king, the ones what will be punished are only Karstor and Carla. We made the eldest son of the house, Karl, cut his ties with his sister and father, and then allowed him to continue the Vargas house. Although by doing so, he is basically no longer the ruler of the Vargas territory, he was still allowed to live with his mother Axel in Koryu Castle. At that moment, Tallman is working hard to support the young lord. Regarding the punishment for Carla and Castor, due to the request of Duchess Excel as a reward for her contribution, I will be judging them myself. As for the corrupt nobles, their noble houses were abolished and their assets, as well as their lands, were confiscated. Then they were publicly executed. While those who were involved in their corruption were also executed, although only in secret. Despite the law of this kingdom saying to sentence to death up to 3 generations as a punishment for treason, this rule would cause too much innocent deaths. So Hakuya and Rimuru-san did their best to change it in a hurry to only 2 generations, and to also exclude anyone under 13 years old, who will then be sent to orphanages or churches. We're planning to change this rule together with the people's perception regarding this rule in the future. I then continued as I made irritated expression from remembering those. Your Highness, you may do whatever you want. This kingdom is yours after all, he said. Then he paused for a second. Your Highness, do you hate the idea of killing someone? He asked. That's a given. There is no way I don't feel any pain in killing someone, but this time, I have no other choice but to kill you. I then heard someone opening a door. Era Kazuya-kun, you need to calm down first, Rimuru-san said to me. No, Rimuru-sama. I understand His Majesty. Please go on, Carmen said in a serious tone. Your plan was a good plan. Gathering all the corrupt nobles in one place. Thus pooling all of the riches that they were hiding in one place and allowing us to capture all of them in one go. But since we can't let the public know about that, we have no other choice but to treat you as one of the corrupt nobles, I said to him as I slowly raised my voice. Then Rimuru-san spoke. The biggest reason for that was because we sustained the most losses during the battle near Randall. No matter what excuse we try to make, the nobles wouldn't accept less. The second reason was because we demanded ransom for Zemu's soldiers. If we publicly announced our connection with Georg. Rimuru-san then paused. I decided to continue her sentences. Zemu would think that they were tricked. It would worsen the already bad reputation of the kingdom of Zemu. I said in an irritated voice, then I paused for a second. That's why we can't afford to let the public know. Rimuru-san finished the sentence. Is this our only choice? You dying, as one of those corrupt nobles? I shouted in anger. Calm down, Kazuya-kun. I understand your anger, but you have to calm down, Rimuru-san said to me as she grabs my hand out of the bars I've been hitting. We could have taken our time to slowly cleanse those corrupt nobles, you know? I said in anger as I'm forcing my body out from Rimuru-san's grip. I can feel her chest on my back. Indeed, being able to take care of all of them in one swoop was a big help. And it definitely helped the kingdom greatly. It improves Hikuya's, Rimuru-san's and my reputation, thus it will be easier for us to pass laws. But still, it's meaningless if we lose you in the process. Answer me. Are you really satisfied with this? I asked him in anger as Rimuru-san hugs me from behind to calm me down. It causes me to calm down almost immediately as I felt her chest at my back even more. This instead of calming me down but also flustered. I can smell her perfume and the shampoo she uses. Young green buds shall grow from the base of a big withering tree. My only wish is for the new generation to grow and flourish, he said in a tone like a father seeing his child growing up. This causes me to be brought back in my senses from Rimuru-san's hug. Then I recomposed myself as I asked, looking down at him. Even if that means that the old withered tree will topple? That will only show the strength of the next generation, and it's something for me to be happy about. You will definitely understand it one day, Your Highness. Once you have a child of your own with the princess. He said it like a father who anytime soon will perish. I see, I said as I listened to him in silence. This is my last question. Tell me, did you plan all of this yourself? I said to him in a serious tone as Rimuru-san lets go of her hug. Georg then let a bit of a surprised expression, then recomposed himself once more. What do you mean? He asks in a serious tone. For some reason, you really hold me in high regard. Just where exactly does that trust come from? I asked him. I've heard about your extraordinary talent from Princess Lisha's letters. Would that be enough for an answer? Very well, I said in a serious tone. If I think about it, everything was so strange right from the start. They suddenly gave me the king's position. Then the engagement with Lisha. Then we did not take much time flushing out the corrupt nobles. It was as if we were on a path that someone had laid beforehand. And there's only one person who could do that. I have already been thinking this for a while. Then, was this plan an order from that person? I asked in a serious voice. I have no comment, he replied. Tell me one more thing. What do you know about that person? I asked him while looking at him. That person will explain everything to you once the time comes, he said. So you won't answer no matter what, huh? I said to him as I gave the poison to him. Your Highness, he said as he opens the poison I gave him. Please take good care of Princess Lisha, he then said. You have my word. Lisha is already irreplaceable family to me. I will protect my family no matter what. No matter what happens, this is the one thing that will always stay true, I said to him as I clenched my fist. I'm glad to hear that, he said as he smiles. Then he lifts the poison and said, I'll pray for the glory of Elfrenden Kingdom and for the happiness of both your Highness and Princess Lisha from the afterlife. Then he drank the poison, then few seconds later he collapsed. I then gave a closer look. If anyone sees this they will think he died. But both Rimuru-san and I know that we didn't give him a poison. It was a potion made by Rimuru-san herself to change Carmine's color from golden to white, having a tiger-like look. Give me a break. Stop putting everything on me, I said to him as I walked out. Rimuru-san, let's go, I said to her. I'll stay a bit more, Kazuya-kun. You can go ahead first, she replied. I just nodded and left the cell. Rimuru, parallel existence, POV. As Kazuya-kun left, I looked at Carmen. You can stop the act now, Carmen, I said to him. He then slowly raised and said, You really caught me, Rimuru-sama, he said as he bows. Don't worry about the guards here, they also know about it, I reassured him. Hi. He said. Sometime later your fur will change color into white. Don't be surprised by this. Also, you will be the leader of Black Cats under Kazuya-kun's command. Of course, make sure to report to me the details of that you have found. Don't worry about Beowulf Gardner. We also gave him the same potion as yours. He will be your second in command after you. More details will be said by Kazuya-kun later, I said to him as I looked at him once more. I'm really impressed to him. He almost immediately already guessed who was behind, I commented. He sure is Rimuru-sama. Albert, my friend, foresaw it. When he said it, I believed at him, as he never lies. That is also the fact that we have known each other after all, he said as he smiles. Well, I already knew it from the very start after all, I said to him. As expected of you, Rimuru-sama. You are the goddess creator after all, he causally commented. So you already knew about me from the start when you first saw me, didn't you? I asked him as I smiled. Hi. I always studied about things after all. Well, forced to, he causally said. Well then, take a rest first, Carmen. Until then, I said as I turned my back to leave. Hi. Until then, Rimuru-sama. Then I left his cell and went back to the castle to take a sip of tea. Third POV. The next day, a certain news spread that the former general of the ground army, Georg Carmen, had committed suicide in his cell. Rimuru, original, POV. It was a day after Shizu-san and I got married. I woke up from our bed to see Shuna on top of me, Shizu-san on my left and Chloe at my right. I smiled a little as I moved Shuna slowly so that I can get up. Donna-sama, Shuna said as she opens her eyes. Did I wake you up? I asked as I kissed her on the lips. No, not at all, she replied as we parted our kiss. Then she smiles at me. Yan, you're already awake, Rimuru-san, said Shizu-san as she rubs her eyes. Good morning, Shizu-san, I greeted her as I smiled. I told you to call me Shizu, didn't I? She said as she pouts. She looks cute. Hi. Good morning, Shizu, I said to her as I giggled. Suddenly Shizu kissed me on the lips. I was surprised by it at first, then I reciprocated the kiss. That's not fair, Sensei, Rimuru, said Chloe as she pouts. Giggles, I can agree on you, Chloe. But let Donna-sama have her moment with Shizu-san. She just came back after all, Shuna said as she smiles widely. Now that you mentioned it, Chloe said as she suddenly kissed my cheeks. We stopped kissing, then Shizu looked at Shuna and Chloe and said, It was painful for me to watch you kissing all the time when I get a glimpse in this world, Shizu said as she hugs me. Ma, now then I have to do paperwork at Tempest Human Resources Development Academy as the principal. Now then, Rimuru, I will take my leave, Chloe said as she kissed me on my lips, then went apart few seconds later. Before you leave, let's all have breakfast first, I said as I went out of my bed. Hi, Rimuru-san. Donna-sama, Rimuru, they all said at the same time as I went to the kitchen to cook our breakfast. As I cooked breakfast, Chloe said she will take a shower while waiting for me to finish cooking while Shuna prepares the table and Shizu was watching me cook. Then suddenly Shizu hugs me from behind. What's wrong, Shizu? I asked. Nothing, I just want to hug my beloved person, she said as she puts her head on my back. Rimuru-san. She called me. What is it? I asked her. Can I visit the academy with Chloe? She asks me. Of course you can, Shizu. But not now, you are needed for our meeting later, I said to her as I turn off the stove. Really? Yada, she said happily. Now let's eat, I said to her. Hi, Rimuru-san, she said with a smile. Then we ate breakfast together. After we ate breakfast, I took a shower and changed my clothes into my dress and went to the office to see my other parallel existence working hard. An example of her dress. "Oh, it seems you are here to visit me," she said. "You sure are working hard and never leaving," I said to her. "Of course, despite me being only your other parallel existence, I'm working myself here. Plus I don't dislike it as you are showing me your adventures. Now then, you being here means you're gonna help me a little, then go ahead and have a meeting for that plan, right?" she asks. "Right on the spot," I replied. Then I helped my other parallel existence for a bit. Atami UG POV. It was finally the day when Moss-san and his men will arrive. I was waiting outside of our HQ with the rest of the 3rd Recon team to greet them. Moments later there was a jet passed by at great speeds. Then tanks almost similar to ours were seen at the horizon. As it got closer, we can see a flag waving at the top of the tank. Wait, what was that flag? Some kind of a nation? I thought to myself as I got my binoculars to see. That is an example flag for the public appearance in Japan, the flag of black numbers. Just imagine the flag saying, Jura Tempest Federation Queendom, with the crown on the head of Rimuru-sama's former slime form. "What does it says, Captain?" Kurata asked. "It says, Jura Tempest Federation Queendom." I paused for a second, then I realized. "Men be ready. Those are Moss-san's troops," I shouted as I straightened my body. The rest did the same as they saluted. Then few seconds later the tanks halted, then the tank hatch opened. It was Moss-san who came out. "It's nice to see you again, Moss-san," I said as I offered my hand for a handshake. "No need with the suffix. Moss is enough," he said as he returns the handshake. Then I saw some of the members of Black Numbers marching with a flag. This is the Black Numbers flag when they were outside of Tempest. It was only used when they were mobilized by Rimuru for missions. It was the same but without the Japanese writing on it. Then another one is almost the same, but the difference is the color. Lastly, another flag was in the middle. It was blue and has gold on it. I think that's their main flag for their nation. Wait, it says there the nation of monsters united under our Queen Rimuru. Tempest isn't so that means. I thought to myself as I went pale. "You don't have to worry. We're harmless and not that kind of monsters you may think," he said as he read my mind. Then they halted marching. Then one of them, seems to be Moss's second in command, walked in front of those troops and said, "Attention," she shouts. All of the said soldiers straighten their body. Reminders from Rimuru-sama: do not do anything unnecessary actions to scare, ruin the reputation of our nation. Don't fight unless the enemy provokes you first. Always keep a cool head as always. Lastly, respect the ones in front of you. They are our allies. These are the royal orders from Her Majesty," she said in authority. "Ha!" they all said and saluted at the same time. Then as she finished, she went to our direction and introduced herself. "You must be Captain Atami Yuji from Japan's Self-Defense Force. I'm Mara, currently Moss-sama's second in command from a portion of Black Numbers. Nice to meet you, Atami Yuji-san." She bows to me. I can see that her rank and insignia is a second lieutenant. It seems that Rimuru-san uses the same rank and insignia from the Self-Defense Force. Hello, nice to meet you. As you know, I am Atami Yuji, commander of 3rd Recon Team and a captain in Self-Defense Force. I then introduced myself to her. I can feel her aura. It was scary, I thought to myself. "Mara, you are scaring Atami-san," Moss scolded her. Pardon me, Moss-sama," she said, bowing. If I may ask," I managed to say to Moss as I felt fear. "What is it, Atami Dono?" he asks. How many are you exactly right now?" I managed to ask. "We have 15 Tempest tanks and 150 troops in total," he said calmly. "Oh, 150 troops?" I said in surprise. "And not to mention F-15 tanks?" Tomita said in surprise. "It may look they have a similar looks, but those are not your ordinary tanks. I can tell based on looks alone," I thought to myself in dismay and disbelief. Then we let them inside the HQ while the rest of Black Numbers quickly set up their temporary base near ours. Soma Kazuya Pav. As I thought, this is awkward. I thought to myself as I looked at Lisha abnormally focusing on work. Though I know she's trying to act normal, but that day when I told her about Georg's suicide, Her expression didn't even change. She just muttered a short, "I see." I couldn't find any words to say to that Lisha, although I know there's no way she's not sad and not tormented by it. I thought to myself when. Soma, Soma, Lisha shouted, bringing me back to my senses. Ah, hi. I asked as I looked at her. Today is the day you're giving medals to the people who contributed during the war against Amidonia. Hakuya isn't around due to other business, so you should keep yourself together. Ah, and also, Lisha finished giving me lecture. Then she was going to say something when Rimuru-san suddenly spoke. It's almost time now, Kazuya-kun, Rimuru-san said with a smile on her face. Then another big thing happened during the award ceremony, but that would be a story for another time. Time skip. Today is the day when I will judge Castor and Carla. It was requested to me personally by Duchess Excel. Currently there are 14 nobles present as a juries. They are divided into 2 tables, 7 each. I'm currently wearing my king's military uniform, sitting on my throne as Rimuru-san is standing on my right as Lisha is standing on my left. Aisha was behind me. Hakuya was on my right side in front with a podium acting as a vice judge. Duchess Excel is on my left side with the podium in front of her acting as a defense attorney to defend Castor and Carla, who was in front of me kneeling on the ground. Well now, let's start the trial of the former general of the kingdom's air force, Castor Vargas, as well as his daughter, Carla Vargas. I said in a serious voice with authority as the king as I looked at them. Former general of the air force, Castor Vargas, and his daughter, Carla. Both of you opposed His Highness and even pointed your blades against the royal army in the last war. This act of treason shall be punished by confiscating your land, and death penalty. Hakuya started to speak. It is indeed a foolish act to oppose His Highness. But, it was an honest mistake on their part. Due to their loyalty to the previous King Albert Dono, and their cherished friendship with Georg Carmen. Moreover, it cannot be denied that the sudden change of the throne has caused much confusion for a lot of people. And Carla only did so as a dutiful daughter. I then just listened to her speaking. Rimuru, parallel existence, POV. Neither of them did it for the sake of ambition. And fortunately, there were no casualties during the battle at Koryu Castle. So please, would you be so merciful as to spare their lives? My daughter asks to Kazuya-kun, pleading for them. As expected of Excel, my daughter, she can do this professionally. I thought to myself as I praised her in my mind. Castor, do you have anything to say? Kazuya-kun asks him with a serious tone of voice. I have nothing to add. Just take my head already, Castor just said. I see. Kazuya-kun muttered. I don't care if you want to torture me or use me as a show. But Carla was just obeying my orders. So please, at least spare her life. He lowered his head. Father, Carla said in surprise to what have her father said. I heard that Carla was the one leading that air squad, so it's not like she's completely innocent either. Kazuya-kun said coldly. Goo. Castor flinched. Kazuya-kun isn't that stupid. He was there at that battle himself. There are also some witnesses and supporting statements from the air squad themselves. I thought to myself in pity on Carla and Castor. Carla, do you have anything to say? Kazuya-kun asks her. In that case, only one thing. Although Her Highness Lisha tried to communicate with us so many times, we were so hard-headed that we did not listen to her, and for that, I deeply apologize for my own ignorance. Carla said while lowering her head. Carla, Lisha said in sadness for her friend. You won't even ask for forgiveness, huh? Kazuya-kun said in a serious tone as he looks at Carla coldly. No, I won't. I will take any punishment, she said as she looks at Kazuya-kun. I see. He nods. Now then. I want to know the opinion of the 14 noble families. I want to hear your honest opinions regarding this matter. What do you think I should do to these fools who recklessly opposed me? Kazuya-kun said in a serious and cold tone of voice as he looks at them. If may I, Your Highness, one of the 14 nobles said. Go on. Kazuya-kun granted him permission. Rimuru Dono, I am sure that you are also in agreement that they must be punished by death, right? A baldy man with beard asked me. He then continued. That is why that you are not at the side of your daughter defending these criminals who dared rebel against the king, he said smirking while looking at me. Less than should I kill him, master? Greater than seal asks in a cold voice. Greater than no, don't seal. Less than I replied. Now, Duchess Walter. Why don't you follow your mother and just let them be punished for their crimes? Another baldy man said. Now you have done it. I don't care if you direct those to me, but you also went for my daughter. I'll make sure you'll suffer for eternity even after your death. I thought to myself while looking at the man. Silence. Kazuya-kun said in a cold voice. No, it's fine Kazuya-kun. I'll answer them, I said in a cold voice. I then continued, now then, I have nothing to do with this judgment. I'm just here to remain neutral in this. As for my daughter, she may do as she wants. Even if defending those you said criminals. I will say nothing more on this. I said as I smiled to them while at the same time looking at them coldly. The of them then took their seats, then another one rose and said, Your Highness. That's as if it's already been established that they're guilty, a young noble said. Who is this person? Kazuya-kun asks. The head of Saracen House, Piltori Saracen, Hikuya answered. This place is a place to deliberate whether someone is guilty or not. It's not for something like this. If your highness would force your decision on them, then there's no need to even hold a court. Piltori said while looking at Kazuya-kun. This man is sharp. Just as I thought to myself as I smiled. Less than you were right, master. This man is sharp. Greater than Seal said in agreement. Greater than oi, don't just read my thoughts please less than I said to her. Gahahaha. You took the words right out of my mouth, young master of the Saracen house. A old-looking man said while laughing. It seems that they're going to have a big role later in Kazuya-kun's kingdom. I thought to myself as I looked at him giving a soft smile on my face. And this person? Kazuya-kun asks. The head of the Jabana house. Owen Jabana. Hikuya introduced. Please excuse my remark, but Duke Vargas has been protecting this kingdom for more than 100 years. Although there's still a side of him that has not matured, I'm sure his love towards this kingdom has stayed the same. The reason why he opposed your highness is not because of greed, but because of his wish to honor his friendship with Duke Carmen. Owen said while looking at the eyes of Kazuya-kun. I like where this is going, hee, I thought to myself as I watch. So you're saying that we should forgive treason when it's done for the sake of one's friends? Hikuya asks him. I didn't say that at all, and it's true that Duke Vargas is still lacking good judgment, but not only has he already lost his honor, his house, his name, and his wealth. Then on top of that, if he were to lose his life along with his daughter as well, I believe that would be too harsh of a punishment, no? He said. Kazuya-kun, you're really blessed. Also to the man named Owen Jabana. Your judgment on this one is the same as ours. I thought to myself as I looked at Kazuya-kun. So, you're saying that we have to forgive his treason. Hikuya summarized on what Owen is trying to say. Owen nods and continued. It would be very unfortunate to lose Duke Vargas. He has been a general for 200 to 300 years. Currently in this kingdom, there's no one who can lead the Air Force as well as him. He finished his remarks. In all what he said is correct, though I can lead the Air Force better than Castor. But that aside, this man do really think the same as us. Also he thinks for the future of this kingdom. I thought to myself in interest. Your Highness, didn't you say that you would use anyone with talent? So are you going to throw away someone as talented as him, Your Highness? It is as Duke Walter said. Please reconsider the punishment for both of them, Piltori said in a high voice. Kazuya-kun closes his eyes and didn't said anything for a second. Then he ordered to the guards, Saracen, Jabana, take these two to the waiting room. He said it in a serious tone of voice. Then the guards went near them and pulled them towards the chamber doors. Your Highness, please reconsider, and be merciful to them. Piltori shouted to us and tried to go back towards us but was denied by the knights by crossing their spears. Then they were finally outside the chamber. Silence filled in the room for the moment. Finally Kazuya-kun asked the rest of the nobles present in front of him. Does anyone want to add anything? He said in a serious voice. All of them are silent. Then one of them spoke. Leaving aside the matter of his wife and son that he has cut ties with, one of the nobles said, he has a long black beard and hair. Punishment for treason is execution up to 3 generations. The noble next to him said, He looks like your typical ancient French nobles. I believe that this is inevitable. The noble who has almost the same long black hair but short-bearded man said. The law is law. Another baldy short man said, if your highness forgave them, it'd be a bad example to your subjects. A noble on the left table said. Those who betrayed your highness are useless for your highness. Another same black lomig-haired man said, but with fancy clothing and accessory on his head. In the first place, your highness has even given them a chance to explain themselves. The noble from earlier who asked me a question said. Betrayers deserve no mercy. An elf-like man with long black hair said with some accessories on his head. If they use their friendship with Carmen as a shield, a mohawk hairstyle said. Then they should kill themselves just like he did. A white-haired man with white beard said. We have no objections to your highness' decision. A man wearing a cloak-like clothing said. Death to the both of them. The man who dared insult my daughter said. Kazuya-kun then closes his eyes as if he was thinking. Then he said, I see. So I really have to do this, huh? He murmured loud enough for me and Lisha to hear. Soma? Lisha asks while looking at him with concern. Kazuya-kun then raised his hand and said, I understand everyone's opinion. Then he opened his hand towards to the direction of Carla and Castor and said. Behead them. You made the right choice, Kazuya-kun. I thought to myself as I looked them getting beheaded by his newly created personal spies and executioners. Kuribayashi Shino Pav. As you know, my name is Kuribayashi Shino, Sergeant First Class. I'm a close combat specialist and I'm 24 years old. I'm currently right now in the meeting of the whole 3rd Recon team members with our commander and now Captain Atami Yuji. Together with that man is a teenage-looking boy, but I still can't believe that he is more than 20,000 years old. His name was Moss, currently commander of the squad from the elite unit of Tempest, Black Numbers. In the meeting, Commander Atami is discussing on what did Lieutenant General Hamaza told him. Apparently we were merged by Moss-san's units. We are called as 1st Japan Tempest Regiment. We are all now under the command of Captain Atami, and Moss-san is his second in command. Our goal is to have a diplomatic relations with the Empire. It was almost the same goal we had but now with our partner and Protector Tempest's elite units. My amazement is out of the level than it should. They have their own weapons. And what's more is that when they used our weapons they used it with ease. All of them are sharp shooters. Not even wasting a single shot. Of course that is the same in moving enemies. Well, we have those moving aiming targets. Only some of us can even manage to fire near the supposedly target, but they have done it in a single go. As expected of Tempest's elite ground forces under the command of the most beautiful queen, Rimuru Tempest-sama. She is also a goddess. Now let's get back. We were going to depart tomorrow for the Empire's capital. Lastly, those jets that we saw. Those were very similar to our prototype. They're also so fast. Apparently their maximum speed reaches to 70 Mach. And that is not the fastest. I can't even imagine that. Then the next day we set towards the capital city of the Empire, Sedera. Chloe Aubert Tempest Pav. I'm currently doing some paperwork at my office at Tempest Human Resources Development Academy. Together with me is Hinata-chan. She is my vice headmaster, both of us when we're not doing paperwork or teaching some students. In Tempest Human Resources Development Academy have 6 years of education. 3 years in middle school and 3 years in high school. I particularly teach the high school department while Hinata-chan teaches the middle school department. In each of those years have 5 classrooms. Mainly Class S is the star classroom, Class A is second to Class S, Class B third to Class A, Class C is fourth to Class B, and Class D is fifth to Class C. That is only known for middle school. As for high school, we use the year and number of class. For example, for the first year student in high school, Class 1 to 1, Class 2 to 1, Class 3 to 1, Class 4 to 1, Class 5 to 1. As for the second year in high school, Class 1 to 2, Class 2 to 2. Class 3 to 2, Class 4 to 2, Class 5 to 2. Finally for the third years, also known as graduating year in high school. Class 1 to 3, Class 2 to 3, Class 3 to 3, Class 4 to 3, Class 5 to 3. As for their uniform, they are wearing a blazer with necktie and pants for male and blazer with ribbon and skirt for female. The color of the uniform were bluish silver, the color of Rimuru's hair. Now to indicate them in their year. We have the gold stripes. 1 gold stripe means you are a first year. 2 gold stripes means you are a second year. And finally 3 gold stripes if you are a graduating or third year. Those stripes were placed on the necktie for male, and skirts for the female. The same indication are also present in middle school. But first let me explain their uniforms. If you are a male in middle school you wear the Gakuren colored in bluish silver. As for the female they wear the sailor uniform. The gold stripes that indicates what year you are in are this time on the sleeves for male. That is the example of the Gakuren uniform. I remembered this back in the days when boys wear that when I'm in middle school. But that is not the case for the female. We use red ribbon to indicate that you are in your first year, pink for the second year and finally bluish silver ribbon for the graduating year of middle school. For the summer uniform for boys in high school, they wear bluish silver colored vests. While for female they're polo plain white with bluish silver color on the end of sleeves near the hands. As for the middle school, the boys wear the summer version of Gakuren, while for the female the summer version of sailor uniform. As for their footwear, the color of the leather shoes were brown. They also have what we called Uwabaki school indoor shoes. The color of it was white with bluish silver on the bottom of it. Uwabaki indoor school shoes looked like that. I remember it as always way back in daycare. We would always exchange our outdoor shoes for that. For the socks, it must be white for all genders. For the females, they have the choice if they will wear the thigh-level socks, knee-level socks, or regular socks. That is all the same no matter what year you are and what department you are. Now as for the teachers, in the middle school department, they can wear any casual clothing. In high school department, they wear professional clothing. Any type of suits for male and female. The only difference are that females wears a skirt while males are pants or slacks pants. As for the early teaching and training course for those students who wish to join Tempest's National Defense Forces, the teachers are wearing the military uniform. It is similar to what I'm in Hinata-chan is wearing. As for the footwear, either black or brown shoes for male. Low heels, high heels or shoes for female. As for us in teaching basic lessons for the incoming Tempest's National Defense Force Academy course, the teachers teaching them are wearing boots. Now I know you have so many questions for the rest but I will not answer them for now. Let's go back. In Tempest Human Resources Development Academy, it is as the name. We teach them general education, getting our students ready for college and their choices in life. Currently Tempest Human Resources Development Academy is a well-known school in the cardinal world for its education. You can tell that this is a prestigious school that offers only the best of the best education to our students. No matter what you came from, we can gladly accept you here. For now I will skip the rules and regulation and stuff. That is all you need for now. As I took a break from my paperwork, I then stood up from my desk and had stretching for a bit. Soma Kazuya Pav. As the king of this kingdom, my actions are based on a certain book written by a politician from Italy during the Middle Ages. It was The Prince, by Machiavelli. It contains how to use cruelty to carry out an act of butchery for the sake of the greater good. It's not about exterminating any hostile enemies, but it is to exterminate any potential enemies in one's inner circle. But it indicates to only use it once and to never use it again. If we let go of those opportunistic people who avoid conflicts and only side with the person in the best position, they will be the seed of massive troubles in the future. That's why, even if people call it cruelty, such a cancer has to be uprooted in its entirety. I could see all of the surprised faces of the rest present in the room, except for Hikuya, Rimuru-san, the rest of Black Cats and me. Then Aisha and Lisha drew their swords and said, "Your Highness," said by Aisha. "Soma," said by Lisha. I then hold their shoulders to calm them down and I said, "It's fine, they are." I paused for a second to look at Rimuru-san. Then she just nodded, giving me the signal to go on. They are the Black Cats, the espionage team serving directly under me, and that is their leader, Kadagora. I introduced them as Kadagora kneels in front of me. "Master, we have accomplished our mission," Kadagora said. Lisha then looks at Kadagora who is kneeling. She noticed it. I thought to myself. She just walked towards Kadagora and stopped in front of him. That voice. Can it be? Lisha was about to say that person's name when I grabbed her shoulders and shook my head signaling her not to say anything more. Then she looks at me and said, "Soma," she muttered. "Well done, now go, clean up the bodies." I ordered Kadagora. Right away, he replied. Then he stood up and looked at Lisha for a second. Lisha did the same with a lonely expression. Kadagora then walks away as Lisha is looking at his back with an expression that she was about to cry but stopped. She then walks near me and said, Soma, can you explain this to me? She asks in a serious tone of voice. Why was there any need to kill those 12 nobles? She continued asking. Ah, those 12 nobles. I paused for a second and looked at Rimuru-san. She just smiled knowing my signal, then she went near Lisha and said. They were connected to Amidonia too, Lisha-chan. Rimuru-san said in her usual playful tone of voice. Lisha made a surprised expression then said, Do you mean they were colluding with the principality? Lisha asked in surprise. I said, too. They're Lisha-chan. No need to shout, now. Those nobles were also connected to both the principality and the corrupt nobles, as well as to us too. Rimuru-san clarified to Lisha as she winks. What do you mean Rimuru-sama? She asks. Those nobles are opportunistic people with no sense of loyalty, who will serve whoever has the better standing. They leech profits by making deals regarding resources, manpower, and resistance. And when the resistance is losing, they'll come at it and crush it themselves. Rimuru-san explains a bit to Lisha as she looks to me. I guess I'll have to finish it myself, huh? I thought to myself as I opened my mouth and said. If we get suspicious of them, they'll start up somewhere else and provoke others to create a resistance, so that they would be able to escape our attention. During the rule of the previous king, Albert Dono, such a practice had been ongoing for a long time, I finished. No way. Lisha said in disbelief. I then continued. The problem is that they don't openly oppose you. When we have the better standing, they'll act as if they're loyal to us. And the more lenient the ruler is, the worse they become. After all, they would believe that there's no need to cut down one's allies when the kingdom is stable. I said in a serious tone of voice. But, you killed them, right? Lisha asks. I never believed that my rule would be stable. As the matter of fact, I'm sure that one day I will have to face difficult decisions. At that time, these people would only cause more trouble for me. And once you, Aisha, or Juna-san. When it gets to the point where the people who are important to me could get hurt, I don't want to regret my decision of not killing them when I had the chance. That's why. I decided to take them out right now, I said while looking at them. How manly of you, Kazuya-kun. Rimuru-san said while teasing me. Tee that aside. Lisha said while her face is red, then she recomposed herself and said. They understood Soma's argument. That's why they were sent to another room. So, what's the plan with them? Saracen House and Jabana House? Lisha asked as she looked at us. Hakuya bowed and said, although both of them are with the 12 nobles. Their connection was cut off since the last head died. The current head, Pieltori Dono, is a likable young man who is talented with both pen and sword. While Owen Dono is a wise and honest straightforward man. I'm sure both of them would serve well under His Highness and will never betray him. So you guys have decided to only execute some of them, huh? Lisha asks. That's right, Lisha-chan, Rimuru-san said to Lisha. Those who were executed are corrupt nobles. At the moment, we already have the royal army heading to their territories in order to seize the evidence. Hakuya finished explaining to Lisha. So then, what about Carla and Duke Vargas? Lisha asks as she looks at me. Then I went back to my throne and I looked at Castor. Castor Vargas, I'll give you my verdict. It has been proven that you were actively involved in the rebellion. But as Pieltori and Owen have said, I acknowledge your service in protecting the kingdom for more than 100 years. We've seized your territory, confiscated your property, abolished your title and your house. As such, we won't take your life, I said then looked at Excel. I'll leave him under Duke Excel, but I forbid him from entering his former territory, and I forbid him from having any contact with his son, Carl, as well as his mother, Excella. This is the price for the crime that your son-in-law committed, so keep your eyes on him, I said to Excel. She lowered her head and said, of course. I'll keep that close to my heart. Thank you very much, Your Highness, she said in sincere voice. I then looked at Carla and said, Carla, you're also guilty of the same crime. But in your case, unfortunately, unlike with Castor, you don't have any property to seize. I finished. I understand. Carla said while lowering her head and closed her eyes. Please wait. She only did what she did because I ordered her. If you're going to kill her, just kill me instead, Castor pleaded. Take him away, I said to the guards. The guards followed my order and was dragging Castor away. Then Castor said, "Wait, please. Spare Carla," he said pleading as he was dragged out of the chamber. As he was dragged out of the chamber I continued, "But still, since I spared the mastermind of the crime, it would feel wrong to execute his daughter. As such you'll also be spared." I paused for a second. "But, you'll continue to live here as a slave, and your ownership will be assigned to Rimuru-san and to the royal family. Which is basically means Lisha and me," I said to her. "I understand," she answered. I then lowered myself to her level to whisper her my order. Carla Vargas Pav. His Highness lowered himself to my level and whispered. "Now then, first things first. There's one order that I want to give you. When push comes to shove, I want you to kill me. Of course, I don't mean now. In case I turn into a tyrant. I want you to be responsible for stopping me." He finished giving me his first order. "Why would you leave such a thing to me?" I asked him whispering. Then I looked at Lisha for a second, then I looked at him again. More and more people that I hold dear are gathering around me, but what if one day? He paused for a second. Then he continued, "When I think of turning into a tyrant, it really scares me. I'm worried if Lisha and the others would stop me," he said as he took a glimpse at Lisha for a second. "Lisha is an honest girl. I'm sure she would stop you," I comforted him. "Is that so? I'm sure she'd object if I ordered a genocide on the people, but what about if I can come up with a good reason for it like last time? If I keep doing something like that, there will be no turning back. And when that happens I'm not sure if they'll abandon me," he said as he looks like he is really worried for his future actions. "At least, if it's Lisha. I bet if you fall to hell, she'll come with you of her own volition," I said to him as I can see Lisha is getting a bit worried. There are many people around me who would choose to face hardship with me, but when I imagine that I might become a tyrant and have not only myself but them also executed, I really hate that thought. That's why, in case that happens before the people who are precious to me are also dragged down, I want you to be the one to kill me," he said. "I have the slave choker on my neck. If I kill my master, then this choker will kill me, though?" I asked. "Indeed. That's why, I need you to be ready and make your resolve when that time comes. The day after I pass down the king's position to the next king, you'll be free," he answered my question. "So he wants me to kill him if he becomes a tyrant, which will kill me in the process as well, huh? This man. He just said something so outrageous like it was nothing," I thought to myself as I smiled. "You're really merciless," I said in defeat while I closed my eyes and smiled. "That's only for those outside the people that I hold dear though," he casually said. "I'm talking about you yourself here, you know," I replied to his remarks. "Lisha. You've fallen for a really troublesome man," I thought to myself as I looked at him. "So that my best friend's love will not meet a sad end, I will have to do my best to keep my eyes on him," I resolved myself. "Very well, I understand. While I hope that day will never come, I shall do my best to fulfill my duty," I swore in front of them as I lowered my head. Rimuru, original, Pav. As I finished helping my other parallel existence, I gave a open double angle bracket thought communication close double angle bracket to all of my subordinates to come to the meeting room immediately. Time skip. I entered the meeting room to see all of my subordinates, families and wives are present. "Now then, since everyone is here, let's start the meeting," I declared to them. "What is the meeting all about, Rimuru-sama?" Benimaru asked. "This meeting is all about the next step we will do against the potential enemies on Earth where Itami Yuji came from," I said to all of them. "Now that is rare for us to have a meeting like this, Rimuru-sama," Geld said. "Indeed, I can't wait what's on today's meeting, Rimuru-sama," Ranga said while wiggling his tail. "This is getting me excited," Ruminas commented. "I agree," Carrion said. "Are we going to destroy them, Nanoda?" Milam asks excitedly. "Kukuku is expected of Okawa-sama. What shall we do about those lowly humans, mainly the nation of USA, Russia, and China?" Diablo said as he smirks. "Okawa-sama, let us rampage for once," said Carrera with stars on her eyes. "I agree for once at Carrera Okawa-sama. I would also like to torture those lowly humans came from those countries," Ultima said with a bright smile on her face. "Now, Now let's all calm down first. Anyway, I will tell it in details later on. Now let's start with assigning troops to guard the gate that I will build soon. I said to them as they listened. Rimuru-sama, if my eye, Benimaru said. Oh, go ahead Benimaru. Do you have a plan in mind? I said to him and asked. Hi, this is only an idea but. He paused for a second then went to the map. What if we send a portion of golden numbers, and a portion of Tempest's holy numbers? We can also show them a bit of our weaponry and some Tempest tanks. Benimaru suggested. It's not a bad idea, but I don't like showing our cards early. I rejected Benimaru's proposal. Then, what do you have in mind Rimuru-sama? Testa asked. I smiled as I said my plan and selected deployment in guarding the gate I will build. As expected of Rimuru-sama. Okawa-sama, Rimuru, Ne-san, Ne-chan, Oni-san. They all praised me at the same time. Now then, I said in serious tone of voice. It's time for the offense plan against of the either three possible hostile nations. I smirked as I presented them the world map. Thank you for your support in the fanfic everyone. I'm really sorry for the wait for this chapter. But now, I can finally release it.